Good evening, friends. Welcome to this knowledge seminar and a very important topic ANMI has brought to you today about the 6 attributes that need to be compulsorily updated before 31st March 22. And I have with me a whole host of NSE officials who would take care of all the queries and clarifications. Can I welcome Ms. Nisha Subhash, Senior Vice President, Regulatory NSE, Mr. Jinit Thakkar, Vice President, Regulatory, and Ms. Dinaz Shroff, Chief Manager, Regulatory NSE. Now, even in my office, we find this 6 attributes to be a little tough nut to crack. Hopefully, we'll be better educated by the end of the session today. One request I would like to make is the files that you are downloading. Is it possible for you to download only for the active clients? Because once we mark inactive and closed, it's just a repetition of data that we are getting 3 times a day. So if you could give us a file for active clients, because they are the relevant clients. Once we start in making activating an inactive client, in any case, all those 6 attributes have to be updated. So in case it is possible, kindly do that. Secondly, is it possible for you, the toughest nut to crack is this income range thing. Although balance 5 we already have by and large. Is it possible for you to develop a link on the NSE website itself where the client can log in, get an OTP and upload these income details, and it will be automatically updated in the NSE records? In case that could be done, it would be wonderful. Here, let's cut it short. And let me welcome our President, Mr. K.K. Maheshwari, who would give the introductory remarks and welcome the speakers. Over to you, Mr.
Maheshwari. Thank you, Rajiv, and a very warm welcome from ANMI to the NSA regulatory team who are with us today. And to all the participants who have joined for the 76th Knowledge Series webinar, which is being organized in association with ANMI, with NSE. Today's webinar is on updation of 6 KYC attributes in UCC database and linking of PAN with Aadhaar. Under the 6 KYC attributes, members are required to upload complete address, including PIN code numbers in case of address in India, PAN details, valid mobile number, valid email ID, income details, and simultaneously linking of PAN with Aadhaar. And all this is required to be completed on or before 31st of March 2022. ANMI has received suggestions from its members that the exchanges are downloading list of active clients and along with the list of active clients, list of inactive clients and closed accounts. And I think this has also been discussed by Rajiv when he was speaking, that if it is possible for exchanges only to share with members list of active clients, and the list of inactive clients and closed accounts can be sent separately so that members can concentrate only on list of active clients and ensure that there is compliance. Besides this, this list would also help in checking whether the PAN is seeded with Aadhaar, and in any case it is not seeded, we would ensure that this is taken up on priority and the job completed. So with this few words, I hand over this session to the moderator, to the panelist over here from NSE, and would request them to take it up from me.
Yeah,
over to you, Dinaz, and NSE team.
Thanks a lot to ANMI, and thanks, Mr. Maheshwari. Just as a precursor, I would like to say that yes, in the last almost 1 year now, we've sent out various circulars, and I think since end of March last year, I think is when we started, where we started with, defining these mandatory fields where this requirement has again, come to us, and where, we were told that your mobile number and email address, which were earlier not as such mandatory, will also now be mandatory. And I think we've had multiple deadlines, and those have got extended as well. So I'm sure that we've got enough time to do and try and see and get the data from the investors. And of course, there are a few clients with remaining who have not been able to comply. So this we wanted to hold this session because just to see that towards the end, if at all there are any problems that brokers are facing, etc., that we will clear out the doubts. And if some of these new points are coming, we will try and see how best we can handle them, because again, we don't have too much time, and where there is a development requirement, those also take up time. So without much ado, I would like Dinaz and Janet will take over, and specifically I would request Dinaz will be talking about the reports that we're already sending to you, and then of course then we can start we can hear you all out and see what best we will be able to do in this short one. So,
good evening, all. Thank you, sir. Thank you for this opportunity to have this discussion and clear all the doubts, so that we all together are ready for this new journey from 1st of April. So from that point, I take it further that as we have spelled out in many of our circulars, that how we will identify a client to be a compliant against the non-compliant, is that the 6 KYC fields, that is the PAN, name, address, including the PIN code if it's address of India, valid mobile number, valid email ID, income range. These are the main fields. If the client is availing the services of the custodian and it is custodian settled, then the custodian details along with the CP code is also mandatory to be provided for a particular client. In addition to that, if a client, the PAN verification status of the client has to also have a status of approved and not incorrect. This is then there is an as the government of India has provided the requirement of PAN and Aadhaar seeding, and for that also the due date being 31st of March, the same will also form a part of the list of the compliances that a client needs to adhere. So for PAN Aadhaar seeding, mainly we are looking at the client category as individual, and where this client PAN Aadhaar seeding has status should be either successful or not applicable. This will be considered as compliant parameters of the client. Fulfilling the requirement shall be considered as non-compliant, and such non-compliant clients shall not be allowed to place orders from 1st of April. So the exchange will themselves be doing this blocking so that there are no orders being taken into the system of such non-compliant clients. From the point of the reports, yes, we will be currently also for the non-compliant clients based on the 6 KYC attributes and PAN verification status. On a weekly basis, on Mondays, we are providing the report in the extranet. As we had in the last webinar, we had received the feedback that members are not able to download their complete reports, and the feedback was that they wanted all the status of the clients, as they wanted to mark all the clients who are non-compliant as either inactive or closed or whatever. So from that, taking the feedback from the last webinar, we had started downloading this report from January onwards on a weekly basis on the extranet, which enables the member to download the report, and which is a segment-wise report. So this was one of the reports that we are giving. Additionally, there was a feedback from the last webinar which we had, whereby that if there are any existing clients who are non-compliant and are trading, then what would be the provisional penalty? So from that also point, from January onwards, we have started giving the INP file, which has a bifurcation of the existing, which is the penalty being levied, and which are such clients who are non-compliant and still trading, and which are provisional. So we term it as a provisional penalty. So that information is also being provided on a daily basis to the members in the INP file. So these are the information which are coming currently. What we propose to give prior to 31st of March is that the statuses of such clients who will not be considered for permitted to trade, who will be considered as non-compliant and who will not be considered as permitted to trade, such status will also start showing in the mandatory field and pen verification as well as the full dump reports, so that prior to 1st of April itself, the members will come to know that which of their clients are considered as not permitted to trade. Currently, also the PAN Aadhaar seeding status for all such clients where we have the status from the NSDL PAN verification module is being shown under the mandatory report as well as the PAN verification report. So this status is already available, whatever we have procured. Now the thing is that for the existing clients, we had taken a one-time kind of a status from NSDL in the month of November. We are reinitiating this exercise for all those clients where we found that the status is either not yet seeded or unsuccessful. So if there is any updation, we will get the updated data, and that will also be shown in these existing reports where the PAN and Aadhaar seeding status is being shown. So these all information we'll try to provide the members prior and on hand, so that there are least number of rejections from the order placement per se also. So if required, we can.
Yeah, Jira, you would like to add? Yeah, probably. Yeah. You add? Please add.
Okay, so good evening all. Small, again, ask would be that, clients who may have a long dated, position, maybe April or May, they should be informed, in prior, because in case they are not compliant to the requirement, and if the position they are unable to square it off post 1st of April, then it could, cultivate to a loss. So, please, a humble request to all, if you can, check your open position, at least the long dated, positions. And in case any client is not compliant, please inform them to, immediately provide the requested data, or they can, at least close down the positions prior to 31st March.
So all members will basically need to take care of this, because if at all there are non-compliant clients having open positions, you should not be caught unawares, because then you will not be able to put a closing order for them beyond 31st of March, then they will just expire, naturally. So that is some one area which members should take care of and analyze before the due date comes.
One more point which I would like to highlight or summed off is that these client positions, these clients who are considered as compliant, non-compliant, will also apply for PRO. So if there are any PRO codes created in the UCC, those UCCs also need to be made compliant with all the requirements, as the check will be there for those as well. So we will be glad to take all the questions that are there, all the queries that we can address.
Madam, with effect from 1st of April, if a client is non-compliant, it would be blocked from the exchange itself. Is it correct?
Correct. Block any order which will be received for such a client, which is non-compliant, such order will not be accepted and it will get rejected.
Madam, can you permit a client who is non-compliant to square off his existing position? You don't allow him to take new positions with effect from 1st of April, but allow him to square off his existing position. This should be in the interest of the client and also in the interest of the member. Don't allow him fresh position, allow him to square off.
Yeah, but only so it is not only as simple as us doing this, because even depositories, if those clients remain non-compliant, beyond the settlement time, depositories will also freeze their accounts. So I agree these are F&O positions, but if something were to actually go into a physical settlement, that will also have a repercussion. Hence, it is advised, and that's why we're saying, and we've also been mentioning this in our circulars, that wherever there are non-compliant clients having open positions beyond the March expiry, please ensure that we close the positions before 31st March itself. We cannot, those will get, if those carry forward, then they will expire on their own. You will not be able to put a closing order for them. They will naturally expire.
Madam, can the exchange suo moto cancel or square off the position as on 1st of April for non-compliant client? Can you square off the position?
We exchange never squares of the position. See, I mean, it is basically the brokers who are putting it, or if it is the clearing member who comes and squares off. But on our own, we will not be able to square off any positions like that. No. So at max, the only thing we are trying and seeing if we can see, but if there are too many brokers involved, it will be very difficult for us to touch base with and follow up with all the brokers. We are trying to see if at all there are any brokers who are having lots of clients who are having open positions, but it is still, it is the the responsibility which the member needs to take and ensure this, so that no one comes into too much of there's not you're left with open position, which may lead to losses if you're not able to close the position. So,
Madam, before I ask Rajiv to take the questions which are received from members, there is one point which I would like to ask, and in case of Aadhaar seeding with PAN, what is the procedure that is required to be followed in case of a client who is a resident of India and subsequently becomes an NRI? What is the procedure that is required for to be followed in case of Aadhaar seeding?
So for the Aadhaar seeding, it will depend on the category of the client updated in the UCs. If the client category happens to be an individual, then Aadhaar seeding is mandatory for such a client. If the client category is NRI, then the Aadhaar seeding is not applicable.
No, madam, the client is an individual resident of India, but subsequently becomes an individual non-resident of India.
So then, accordingly, the category needs to be changed. How any authority would come to knowledge of the said change?
So the broker will have to ask for a category change from individual to NRI.
Okay.
For that client, when there is a change of status for the individual, you'll have to come and seek that change. Once that is done, then then this situation will not be applicable to this particular.
And the same account can be continued.
Yes, of course.
Rajiv, you can take the questions that have been received from them.
Okay, based on the questions that we received, ma'am, the last data that it takes is only 12 months prior to the current date for income updation. Is it possible for NRIs to have a 2-year window, because some of them are filing the returns, preparing the returns, say after they are following calendar years, and we can have different years.
So currently, when the income is being updated, the system validates that it has to be any date of the previous year. So if any date of the previous year is updated, it will be considered as valid and it will allow the income to be updated.
Correct. So the point is that suppose there's an NRI who was prepared only returns till say 31st December 20, and is yet to update his records for 31st to 31st December 21. How it's creating a little problem while updating the records.
Okay.
Sir, here the thing is that it is an income range. Your one is not inputting the actual income. So any range.
So that can be an estimate also.
It can be an estimate also.
Okay, right. So this 1 year thing can be
Any
slightly.
date of the previous calendar year will, up till that it will take.
So is this 12 months is the date of intimation by the client or his actual return preparation?
Sir, it is the date when, if you are inputting this date, it is the system is calculating the date from the input date.
Okay,
If you are inputting the date, whenever you are updating, and if that is the input date, it will see whether it is of the previous year or not.
right. So that answers little thing. And ma'am, could you inform the members about how to upload the 6 attributes in bulk in a bulk file? Is there any process?
The bulk modification file allows one to upload the data in whichever field they want to update. So if you want to update for all your clients the mobile, you can only put the basic fields like PAN, client code, and then the mobile data.
Okay, and it'll update only the mobile numbers.
So it will only update that one.
Okay. Uh, then, ma'am, the next question that I've received is that suppose a client, this Aadhaar seeding is pending and he updates his Aadhaar link on say 4th of April 22. Now, when does the client get activated in the UCC system?
The thing is that for Aadhaar seeding, at this point, if there is a new client, then it is it is a through and through process as it goes for your PAN verification. Along with that, we get the status. But if it's already an existing client and whose seeding has not happened till the time we are taking the status from NSDL, then we will have to make a separate request. So for that, we are building a module, but it may take a little time. But till that time, we will handle the request through email. So you can email us that this client has completed the Aadhaar seeding, and we will again send that record to NSDL to verify. And when we receive the response from NSDL, we will accordingly mark the status of that client, whether permitted to trade or not permitted to trade accordingly.
So this will be a one-on-one basis.
One-on-one basis. Till the
Okay.
time we provide the functionality in the unfreezing module, whereby the request can come through the unfreezing module.
So till the time that you are able to update the seeding status, that client remains inactive.
Correct. That client will not be considered permitted to trade.
Okay, and when would be the last date when you are going to take this data from NSGL, ma'am?
Because the numbers are high, we need to do a separate module kind of a thing through NSDL. So we will be starting our process from Monday, whereby we will be taking. So in the next week, we should be through with taking the status from NSDL.
Okay, so can I make a request?
Very last
is that you kindly develop a module which at least updates the status every day?
We can build a module based on the member request kind, because the numbers are high. We cannot send all the data every day to NSDL for their status update. So this will impact the other system also. So we will build a module which is a request based, where the member will put a request knowing that their status has got updated and to seek the status. And the feedback that we have received from NSDL PAN verification is also that the seeding status, they are also not receiving on an immediate basis. So over there also, it is not happening real time. So that is also taking on a day or two gap.
So it's not a small problem. In effect, it's not a small problem wherever the seeding is missing. And the next one I've received is, suppose a client is blocked because of want of some of these KYC details, and he wants to update post 1st April. So the existing client code will work, or he has to open a new client code?
No, same client code. As and when the data will get updated on a daily basis, we'll be providing the files to the members that for tomorrow's trading, these are the client codes which are permitted to trade. These files we will be providing in two batches. Both the batches would be the full files. So up till a particular point of time, the data will be updated and will be provided. Then at the night again up to that particular time, whatever is the data will be provided. So both the files will be full files. On a daily basis, we'll be providing this report, which will give you the information that which are the codes permitted to trade for the next day. So that information will be providing members.
Ma'am, is it possible for you to provide a list of non-compliant clients for active clients? Because the whole data dump is too large, and we have inactive clients, we have closed accounts, and I get a data file of say 2,000 accounts, out of which I have to hunt which are my active, and I don't find any one of them active clients non-compliant.
So we will look into this, because currently the status of UCC is irrelevant for the trading per se. From the point, currently trading in even in inactive marked clients, the trade do take place. So from that point, the entire information is being provided, and the information which is being looked upon is from the KYC parameters rather than the status of the client. So we take your point. We will try and work on to it.
In any case, we can always filter the data.
Yes.
And see, the thing is, sir, while you are now concentrating on active clients, as in at the exchange level, all the records which are complying with these attributes will be sent to the trading system, even if you have marked them as inactive. Because tomorrow, intraday, your inactive client walks in and he says, "I want to trade." If he's compliant, he can start trading. So we don't have to wait for you to change or whatever. So we are basically going by compliant clients, irrespective of what the status of that client is with you.
Okay.
Because I'm sure that any inactive client at given after 2 years he suddenly wants to come and trade. If he's compliant, why not? He can come and trade if he's having given all the data that is required.
Right. So another concern members were having is there any penalty if trade executed in non-compliant? So once you are blocking, so there's no question of a trade taking place. So
Correct.
therefore, at least members are saved of any penalties.
Correct.
On this account. Yeah, that thankfully that's a good thing. Then relationship option is not available at exchange for multiple mobile email. Then is any validation for family relationship?
But that is not being, currently there is no restriction on the number of same
Mobile or email.
Our inspection team does go and check, and at the time of inspections, you need to demonstrate that yes, they indeed are family members, who are sharing the same mobile number or email addresses. So while of course we are not restricted, but that monitoring happens at the time of inspections. So if the point here is if that in a system they are not able to capture this, is that what they're saying, that they're not able to say that
Yeah, that is what I understand. That basically, if there are common mobile numbers and emails, as long as they are valid, it's okay.
Yeah, that relationship. Yeah, so even so, at a
relationship
level,
is a separate matter that has to be taken up at the time of
inspection. At a broker level, so when we are accepting, so if, for example, if you are taking someone's mobile number and email address, that check, I'm sure as members we all should see that, to ensure that repeatedly we are not getting the same number, and if at all we're getting it, that they indeed belong to the same family. So that is a due diligence that we all should do.
So I think most of the back office softwares do take this into account, that in case a mobile number or an email address is repeated, they'll check for a family flag.
Yes. Yeah.
Then they say NSGL has an API for PAN verification and Aadhaar seeding. Is it possible for NSE to build API for verifying this?
So we are doing it through the API. It is the same API for PAN Aadhaar seeding, PAN verification. In the PAN verification output, only the Aadhaar seeding output is received from NSDL. So it's the same. So for a new client which is entering, this is happening through and through. But for the existing clients, since the numbers were high and the API gets blocked if we start pushing it through that, that is why we had to do a bulk verification through a separate channel, so that we are able to achieve the maximum result in a shortest time.
So, ma'am, suppose a new client comes in and we put in the Aadhaar, this PAN number and all. So it will get validated only in case he's already seeded, or in case there's a problem with seeding, we won't get a valid PAN.
If the PAN, once at the time when you are uploading a new UCC, you are providing the PAN details and you are providing all the other relevant details.
That's right.
As per the process of the exchange, the first time the record is received, it is sent to NSDL for verification. So at the time of verification, it is verifying whether the PAN is valid and existing, and what is the name received on the, what is the name as per the PAN site, and what is the name that we have received from the UCC. And along with that output, we also receive the PAN Aadhaar seeding status from NSE. So it is the one shot we receive all the information. So, and accordingly, the same is validated. Accordingly, the same is captured into the exchange system.
So, in a nutshell, if a new client walks in, unless and until it gets validated on all the parameters, it won't be activated at the exchange level itself.
True. Yes.
So a lot of trouble is saved.
It will be marked as, if the PAN and the name is not matching, then it will be marked as the PAN verification status as incorrect. And Aadhaar seeding status will also be marked as whatever is the status received. So this information will be stored. And since it will not be meeting the requirement of a compliant client, it will be marked as not permitted to trade. Correct. And that will be shown in separate reports accordingly.
Yeah, and even if the member wants to put in the trade, he won't be able to do it.
Yes, correct.
That's wonderful.
Rajiv, just can I come in? Suppose a client has uploaded the UCC, and it is rejected by the exchange. And how do we get connected to the exchange to check the reason for rejection? For example, in a PAN card, the name is, let us say, Rajiv Gupta. It is followed, Rajiv Gupta is followed by a full stop in the PAN card. But when Rajiv Gupta is uploading his UCC, he is uploading it as Rajiv Gupta. But that dot is missing, which is there in the PAN. In that case, it would be rejected at the exchange level. And when it is rejected at the exchange level, how do we overcome this kind of a situation?
But they do give in the return file, they do give a reason for rejection.
No, but how do they solve this? Either I have to get my PAN amended.
Absolutely. Or you have to open it exactly the same way. Yeah.
No, because this is something which we have faced with the Bombay Stock Exchange.
Okay.
So ideally, it is ideally the best way to do it is the way the PAN is having it is the way you should ideally upload, so that those goes through clearly. Unless there's a big change in the way the client writes his name and the way income taxes issued the PAN to him. So those are very few cases that we come across. Now we are trying our best to ensure that we keep these cases to a minimal. We are trying to have a fuzzy logic building. Taki ye sab type of cases, the one you're trying to. Of course, this dot and not doesn't come in. For instance, you may have cases like Rajiv mein RAJIV hai ya RAJEEV hai.
Correct.
Those kind of cases. So those sub cases mein thoda bahut wahan pe where there are distinctions. Some of these cases where we may have a difference, but we are trying to see how best we can do it. But where it comes as not matched, then then you have the chance to then rectify the record as per the PAN, and so that goes through.
Okay. And once we make it as per PAN, and then ask for PAN amendment, and then again amend it in the UCC database.
See, you can either make a change in the UCC opened with the name exactly as per the PAN, or you can get the PAN amended. That's a long run process. Whichever is more feasible to do is.
Yeah.
Ma'am, another query that we received, even after seeding Aadhaar with PAN, but the same is not getting updated in NSE. But in income tax login, it gives message as Aadhaar is seeded. What do we do?
So as I said, for the existing client, we had done a one-time exercise in November. So if any updations which have taken place subsequent to that, we are redoing it now wherever the seeding status has been rejected or wherever the seeding status was not received. So for all such records, we are doing it one more time. to take the updated status. So after that, if there is anything, then we will, the member will have to inform us to seek the status for any subsequent updations. And we will send those individual pens again for seeking the status.
The next question I have is name declaration or modification form is required for name change, or can we confirm the same from recorded line to do it in any some speedy manner?
Sorry, I didn't get the query
Even I
exactly.
don't get the query. He wants to change the name. I think the modification in the name field. Maybe he
Name
wants to
of the UCC?
Yeah.
Name of the UCC, then we have a module called unfreezing module, through which they can put a request for name change, and accordingly we will send this record again to NSDL for verification, and after the verification is successful, the name will get updated. If verification is not successful, then this request will get rejected, and whatever was updated earlier will continue to be there.
So I think if the question is the process to be followed in the backend as when they want to do the name change, is that the question?
That is what I understand. Suppose there's a mismatch between the name or the PAN card or something, and they want to change the name in the UCC. Maybe that's the.
That I think is a simple one. But if it was an already accepted one and now you want to go ahead and change, then you need to obviously have the necessary the paperwork for you to be able to go and do the name change. That whatever is required.
The next query is that we are getting case in NSE weekly file that PAN is approved in cash segment. However, in FNO segment, PAN is not approved. How can we rely on same? Please suggest.
The thing is that if the accounts were opened at different point of time and the request was sent to NSDL at that point of time, so whatever is the status received at that point of time is accordingly being considered.
Now, what is the solution, man? Suppose he's active, he's valid in cash segment and invalid in FNO. What does he do? The member.
So
I can email to you.
It could be that the PAN itself has become invalid now.
Okay. So in any case, it's a one-to-one problem. You can write a mail.
Yes, sir.
How
Okay.
can the PAN become invalid? I don't understand.
Oh, it does. It does. Maheshwari ji, you'll be surprised that PANs do become invalid at times. They issue duplicate for PANs. People are having two PAN cards, three PAN cards, and then they make one of them is invalid. And then we have currently we are making non-compliant accounts as inactive. Can we deactivate after we can we can we reactivate after the KYC of the same? I think yes, there's no problem. What do you say, ma'am?
Sorry, if they have marked a UCC as inactive currently because it is non-compliant, after if becomes compliant, if they can update it and make it active, mark it as active at that point.
Okay, that's no problem. Now he says while uploading batch file for 6 KYC attributes for change in client name, we had received error in response file as cannot put unfreeze the request. You can use other mode. What is the solution?
Sorry, I didn't get what.
He's saying while uploading batch file for 6 KYC attributes for change in client name, he wants to do a client name change with a batch file upload. We had received error in response file as cannot put unfreeze request. You can use other mode.
The thing is that while updating for name change, you have one needs to use the unfreezing module only. So if one is trying to make the modification through the bulk modification, then such a response will be received.
Okay. Now, the next question is, in which email ID we need to send email if client has seeded his PAN with Aadhaar but exchange showing pending for the UCC code?
In
that
the UCI email ID itself. In the UCI Connect ID on UCI@nse.co.in.
UCI at nsc.co.in.
NSE.co.
Okay. Then how to validate the mobile numbers in case of NRI clients, as they are not necessarily 10-digit numbers.
So that will depend on what is the validation process at each broker's end. Because they might be falling within, because we have given the length size of the field from 5 to 17. But whether it is valid or not, that one needs to check how, based on whatever verification process each broker is having at their end for verification of their client. Currently, exchanges or MIs are not doing any validation of the email ID or mobile number of the client.
Okay.
So that individual broker needs to take care of it.
The next one is, during trading, if client complies with this KYC requirements, can it be activated for trading immediately by NSE, or it will be done at the day end only?
It will be done at the day end, at the next trading day.
Okay, and we will get a report for all the enabled clients next day.
On a daily basis, you will get the report for the clients who are permitted to trade for the next trading day.
Okay. Can exchange get a real-time updation of Aadhaar seeding status, which will help clients to continue trading once updated? No, I don't think you are still
See,
building that.
as I said, so for new clients, we are doing it online as along with the PAN verification itself. But however, for the existing clients, as the data is huge, it cannot keep happening every now and then. It can happen only through a request base.
Okay. Then they say in BSc, UCC, single name account. I don't understand. What's the question? The query seems to be. In BSc, UCC, single name account. No, it's a company accounts. Aadhaar seeking PAN is to update. What is this? In Aadhaar seeding is only required for individual clients.
Correct. Correct.
I don't think any further questions are coming in. I think we've gone through all the queries, and okay, the last one.
See, there is one more thing I just wanted to again, our teams have already gotten in touch, and we've also gotten in touch with brokers that even for prop accounts, wherever we are doing prop trading, please ensure to enter, update your prop UCC as well, because even your prop UCC will be sent to the trading system. So until now, because where we were, the penalty and all that we're charging, it was for the clients, and that for the prop accounts, even if the UCC was not there, while we were following up with the with the brokers, we were not charging penalties for the prop account trading. So even now, but because now this is going to be
how many cases are pending, ma'am, for these prop accounts pending UCC updation?
See, UCC updation, we could identify around 750 members who have created their prop trading codes in the system, but most of them are non-compliant at this point of time.
So most of the prop trading will get deactivated on 1st April.
It will get impacted. So that is why we want to highlight this, and we want to make everybody aware that if while you are concentrating on your clients, please concentrate and because this details you already have. It is that it has not just triggered that it needs to be updated for this also.
Ma'am, is it possible for you to send a separate SMS to the compliance officers for all the pro accounts pending? Well, that's a serious matter.
We have sent emails to all of them.
Okay. Yeah, I remember I got it and I got it updated also.
Yes, sir. We have sent emails to all of them.
And even in this new circular, we'll be issuing another circular. Even there, we are going to be specifically again mentioning that you're even for prop accounts, ensure to update all the KYC details.
Okay. So now they say, in case of custodian settled clients, custodial details are mandatory. Custodian can give mobile or landline for mandatory KYC attribute. So how to capture landline number of custodian in Demat account?
In Demat account, they would have given the field in the depository and also similarly as it is available in the exchange and for the UCC.
Okay. The next one is in BSC UCC of if single name is there, it will come in BSC UCC as first and last name is same, but that account get penalized due to PAN not valid for this. What we can do for in this regard?
I'm sorry, I couldn't follow the query.
Yeah, even I'm not. He says in BSC UCC, if single name is there, it will come in BSC UCC as first and last name is same, but that account gets penalized due to PAN not valid for this. What we can do for this?
I may not be able to answer that.
Yeah, even for BSC, probably you won't be able to answer. Primary phone number in CDSL has to be of custodian in case of custodian settled accounts. Mr. Chaitali M. Shah is writing.
With for custodian settled plans, phone number is mandatory and that is to be provided to wherever the depository account is.
Okay. So, and then what will be the income update date? Will it be last financial year or date of update? It should be date of update.
It can be any date of the previous calendar year. The validation is when the date is being updated in the system. It cannot be.
Okay. Again and again, this query is coming up. What is the penalty? People are really scared of the penalties from NSE. Don't worry. The client will not be able to trade in case he's not non-compliant. So that's one really big relief.
I think that is a big step.
Actually,
yeah,
it's a big
that is a bigger step.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a bigger step. So that is where people should be worried about and not the penalty part, because now there'll be no penalty at all.
Exactly. So that's good. So if the client does not trade till he updates it, it's fine.
Yeah.
CDSL does not give separate field for capturing custodian mobile number. They have asked us to update it in primary contact details of account holder.
We will not be able to comment on that. So CDSL is, I don't think.
Okay. If code will be deactivated after 1st April 22, after few days client trying to trading, can Odin strictly stop it or not? NSE will stop for doing trade or not? Yeah, it will be deactivated whether you are putting it.
Yeah, every day our system will generate a new file, sir. If today on 31st of March all the attributes were not there, it will be not permitted. On 4th of April he goes and updates all the requirements. It will become permitted to trade. So on a daily basis, this check will be done. But
and
so
it is immaterial from where the order has been put, whether through Odin or DCM or whatever. For corporate accounts, it's mandatory to link director, PAN and Aadhaar. Is it mandatory, man? No.
No.
For corporate accounts, it's not mandatory. It's only for individual.
If they are creating a new UCC, if it's a corporate account, for first two directors, it is mandatory. Apart from that, it is not.
Yeah, and in case
that is not a part of the KYC,
attributes.
But it's a part of the mandatory records in the file itself. So the record may not get updated only because there is lack in the mandatory records, but it's not a part of the compliant list of attributes.
Okay, and another query that though I think it's unrelated. What about nomination criteria if not updated, opted or not opted, or this opt-in and opt-out?
Currently, the date has got extended till 2023 March. So
okay,
they have still time.
So we'll do the seminar next year about this.
Not.
Okay.
Maybe on some other topic.
Yeah.
So no, hopefully on that, yeah, maybe we can separately discuss about the nomination part.
Yeah, oh, yeah. Why worry about this nomination opt-in as of today? How much time will get activated for again? It's a batch processing thing. Whenever NSDL gives the data, you will have to wait. In continuation to earlier question, for response cannot put unfreeze request. You can use other mode. Oh, are we required to do? Oh, this is that name change again. He's trying to ask this, that he want to change the name. So you have to put an unfreeze request for name change, and then they will unfreeze it, and then you can change that particular record. It won't go through the
So
batch upload.
it could be that he is trying to put an unfreeze request through the batch mode in the unfreeze module, but the name validation check, it is failing, and that is why his request is getting rejected and it is remaining in the same name. So some error is there because the name which we are receiving from the pen verification site is not matching with the new name he's trying to put.
So in case, Mr. Shah, in case you still find a problem, you could shoot a mail to NSE UCI department, and I think they'll help you on a one-to-one basis. Just to confirm, non-compliant account will be blocked for trading from exchange side. Yes, the exchange has clarified. People still can't believe that it's become so simple now. Okay, no, you won't be able to put in the trade. So no worries. So far as the client is concerned, till he complies, the only problem is in case the Aadhaar is not seeded, then it can take a little while more time. Otherwise, for other things, it will supply.
Yes.
At least it will be a one-day delay.
There was one question which one of the brokers had asked me yesterday, that for custodian details earlier, because they had put some 99999 in the mobile number, and they want to now update the landline number, because for custodian its landline is also allowed. So the thing is, as of now, our system does not allow you to delete that, or it only allows you to modify. But for now, you can continue with what the number is, and you can go and update the landline number. And I think that will be taken as okay, valid. That will be taken as valid.
Right. Thank you. And the next one is, in case of corporate clients for income updation, net worth is mandatory, but many have net worth as on March 2021. Which is 1 year old? How to get latest?
Sir, now income is mandatory for all clients. Net worth is optional.
Okay, and in any case, you just have to update the income range. That's
March
all.
21 तो उससे ज़्यादा और क्या? March 21 is perfect, sir.
Yeah.
Our system accepts. Yeah, it will perfect. March 21 का तो कोई problem ही नहीं है.
Correct. And
no, net worth is not mandatory.
No,
it's only the income range which is mandatory.
Yeah.
If I'm correct.
Prior to
net worth is not mandatory.
Mandatory, correct. Prior to this requirement, it used to be always income or net worth, either of one has to be there. Now, since income has become mandatory, if you put net worth, it is an additional information. If you don't put, it doesn't. Okay.
Madam, you are allowing inactive clients to put in their orders. So in the exchange database, the client is an inactive client, but his orders will go through. So would you be giving us a list of inactive clients who have traded so that members can change their status in the exchange database?
Currently in the INP file of the penalty, we send those records where the clients who are not compliant have traded. So you will have that kind of information. Additionally, in the extranet file also, the file which we download on a weekly basis on extranet, which gives the missing client details, this details is provided for all the non-compliant clients irrespective of their status. So there also you will be able to see all such clients.
No, I'm talking about a compliant client. Compliant client. A compliant client whose order is permitted to go through the exchange.
Yes, sir.
In that case, in the database of the exchange, the client is inactive.
Yes, sir.
So, but we have not made it active in the exchange database. So, for a compliant client, are you going to give a list of trades which have been permitted to trade in case of inactive clients?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. The report which we will be sending for the for the list of clients which will be permitted to trade also has a column of the status of the client. So that will help you to identify that these are the compliant clients, but their status is as inactive.
No, but Mr. Maheshwari, if I'm understanding you, you're saying we should send you a separate report that this inactive guy, a person has traded, right?
Exactly.
So that
No, the point is, once
yeah.
you are going to send a report of an inactive client who has traded, it will make the back office alert that he has to go to the exchange UCC and make the client as active. So from that point of view, if you can give us this list that these are inactive clients who have traded, then in that case we can update the UCC database on our own and change the status.
We
can look at it as a later point of time, but for now, yeah, maybe from our end we can see we'll have to do that. But I'm only assuming that, so when an inactive person walks into your shop today to start trading, I'm sure his margin requirements will have to be met. So it's not that he can just walk in and start trading, right? So
no, if he wants to come and only sell
sorry,
shares, if he wants to come and only sell shares there in his DP account.
So then
we
also
allow
he will need to do the pledge.
yes.
No, he will just allow him to try. He's going to sell the shares. He's just making he will just transfer the shares. We'll block the shares and allow him to trade.
So he will do some transaction and he will get in touch with the broker to do that, no?
No. My point is, when an inactive client comes, I'm going to do my full compliance in terms of making that client active. Okay, but I also need to update the exchange database that this client is active. So once you are going to give me a list that these are the clients which were previously marked inactive, have also traded, I would go to the UCC site and ensure that the status of the client which was inactive is changed to active. That is the point.
So we take your suggestion, we will work on to this and we'll try to provide this information as soon as we have developed this as a report and provide the same to.
Okay, the next one is, can the demat holding valuation be considered for taking income range / net worth? No, I think that which has already been crossed. Will all the NRI accounts be allowed even if their Aadhaar is not seeded? Aadhaar seeding is not required for NRI clients. So
Yeah,
once there's an NRI account and Aadhaar seeded is not there, you won't be deactivating your client account.
Yes.
Yes.
Am I right? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay. After 1st April 22, which is valid financial year for income range 2021 or 21-22, you just have to put an income range. It's just I think it's just an estimate. Nobody's bothering about the exact number.
It's an estimate, sir, according to whatever is the information.
Are we supposed to update it every year, is it? Or once we provide it, in case there's a change, you can come and change if the client wants.
Correct.
Then whatever the KYC norms are there that you need to otherwise regularly follow, that you will anyways be doing.
Yeah, so so far as the current regulatory thing is concerned, for F&O clients, we are supposed to take the income tax return every year. But for capital market clients, we're not supposed to take any income tax returns every year.
Yeah.
You just check it once at the time of opening the account and you can just continue with the trading. Am I right? Is this the status still there?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, since PAN Aadhaar seeding as well as verification is not on real-time basis and it would be very difficult to face customers, is any extension is expected till the systems are on real-time basis? Well, this is for the government of India to extend this. I don't think you have a role to play this.
as we said, for the PAN Aadhaar seeding of the existing client, it will be on request base, and based on the request we receive the status, we will update it. But the updation, as the same is getting updated, it will accordingly change the status, whether permitted or not permitted accordingly.
I think we've come to the end of the road so far as the queries are concerned. Is it okay if we close the session now? Somebody wanna?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let me propose a vote of thanks from my side to Ms. Nisha, Mr. Jinit, and Ms. Dinaz for their wonderful guidance. And I also want to thank Mr. Maheshwari and all our fellow members who have taken time to get hold of this thing. And I would request Mr. Maheshwari to give the concluding remarks.
Yeah, thank you, Rajiv. It was a very, very important and a very informative session. I think a lot of doubts have got cleared during this session, and I'm sure that members who take the information that they have gathered now and complete the KYC attributes in case of clients that they have not been able to update the UCC database. If it is possible, I would request the exchange to take up with the regulator that till such time Aadhaar seeding with PAN is not on a real-time basis. If the date could be extended, it may be considered, but otherwise, as you have informed, it is only around 2 lakh clients who are with active status and who have not complied, which is not a very big number. And
but that is, sir, this number is not including PAN Aadhaar. Huh? PAN Aadhaar is not included in that.
Yes.
PAN Aadhaar, we would have a bigger number.
Okay, if it is a bigger number, I think.
Sir, but the only thing is PAN Aadhaar is not something which is in our hands, because that is CBDT requirement.
Yeah.
So if CBDT gives an extension to that, then because we're saying that the PAN itself, they're saying will become invalid, right?
Okay.
So that is, we can hope that CBDT looks at those numbers and then decides that they may, if they're planning to extend it.
Okay. So thank you very much, team NSE, for this wonderful webinar, and thank you very much again. And thank you all to all the members and who have joined for this webinar.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.